Welcome to English Podcast. Subscribe our channel for more update.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really diving into something that seems simple, but is, well, incredibly powerful for boosting your English skills. We're talking about reading, just picking something up and reading it. And our mission today is basically to cut through all the advice out there and give you a shortcut. We want you to be properly informed on this strategy. We've looked at the sources, pulled out the key insights, the real nuggets about why reading works so well, whether it's a book or, just a blog post you find interesting.
It really is fascinating how often reading gets sort of overlooked. People jump to speaking practice, listening exercises, which are important, of course, but reading, it's like the secret weapon. It's calm. You can do it anywhere, and it quietly boosts everything: vocabulary, grammar, even spelling and pronunciation. It's pretty effective.
Absolutely. A quiet revolution, like you said. So, okay, what are we actually going to unpack today? We'll look at how reading hits vocabulary, grammar, spelling, and also how it exposes you to different kinds of English. And maybe surprisingly, how it helps your pronunciation too. Plus, some solid tips on how to start, especially if you're feeling a bit unsure where to begin. So let's kick off with vocabulary. That's often the big focus for learners, right? But it's not just about looking up words in a dictionary when you read, is it?
No, not really. What's truly powerful here, I think, is that reading shows you words in their natural environment. Inside a real sentence, a paragraph, part of a story. So you don't just get a definition. Your brain actually absorbs the nuances, how the word feels, how it's used. Think about apple. You learn it means a fruit. Fine. But then maybe you read the apple of my eye. Suddenly, boom, a totally new meaning, an affectionate one. Your brain makes these richer connections. It sticks way better than a flashcard.
That makes sense. You're picking up subtleties a dictionary just can't capture. And speaking of subtle, what about grammar? Because, let's be honest, grammar often feels like hard work, like memorizing rules.
Right, and this is where reading is brilliant. It's kind of passive learning, or implicit learning, you could call it. You just start to get a feel for how English flows, how it's structured. Your brain sort of unconsciously starts noticing patterns, correct verb tenses, how sentences are built, just by seeing them used correctly over and over again in context. It's like it's quietly building this internal map of the language. No boring drills needed.
Yeah, it's amazing how the brain does that without you forcing it. Sounds much less, scary than grammar lessons sometimes feel. And I guess that same quiet absorption works for spelling too, even tricky spellings.
Precisely. Yeah, exactly. You see words spelled correctly again and again, and it just sinks in visually. Those tricky ones like, knife with the silent K or through, they start to look right because you've encountered them so many times in things you're actually reading and enjoying. That repeated visual input is super effective for remembering how to spell things correctly later.
Okay, so beyond the nuts and bolts of words and grammar, there's this other aspect. Reading really broadens your exposure to English itself. It's not all the same style, is it?
No, definitely not. And that's a huge benefit. When you read different things, maybe fiction one day, a news article the next, maybe even just scrolling through different kinds of posts online, you encounter different registers, different styles. A children's book sounds completely different from, say, a formal report or an opinion piece in a newspaper. Experiencing all that variety really prepares you for the real world, where you'll hear and read English in all sorts of ways. Makes you more adaptable.
Adaptable, right. And then there's the pronunciation piece, which seems counterintuitive. How can just looking at words help how you say them, especially if you're reading silently?
Yeah, it's a great question. But even silently, your brain is making connections. It sees the written word, thought, for example, and it connects that visual shape to the sound pattern it knows. It's building these sort of mental links between sight and sound, stronger pathways. So when it comes time for you to actually say the word, that pathway is already clearer, making it easier. And then if you actually try reading aloud sometimes, even just to yourself, nobody listening, that's a massive boost. You actually hear the sounds, you practice the rhythm, the intonation, you get comfortable with the feel of English in your mouth. It's great practice, even solo.
That's a fantastic point, built-in speaking practice. Okay, but for someone maybe just starting, or even someone who reads okay but wants to do it better for learning, picking up like a huge novel might feel daunting. What are the best ways to actually, dive in effectively?
Yeah, good point. You want to start smart. Don't go for Moby Dick on day one. A really, really good starting place, honestly, even for people who aren't absolute beginners, is children's books. They're usually short, the language is simpler, they're often fun, and crucially, pictures. The pictures give you so much context, helps you figure out words without stopping.
Pictures as clues. Got it. That makes total sense.
Exactly. And another brilliant option, specifically made for learners, are graded readers. You've probably seen them. They're books labeled with levels like A1, A2, B1, B2. You pick one that matches where you are right now. It means you can read smoothly without hitting constant roadblocks. It's great for building confidence and just getting into the flow of reading in English.
That sounds much less stressful, yeah. Finding the right level. But what if even a short book feels like too much?
Then don't read a book. Seriously, the aim is just regular contact with written English. Try short stories or news articles written for kids, or learners' websites like Newsela or BBC Learning English have these. Or, and this is probably the best tip, find blogs or websites about stuff you actually like. Cooking, sports, travel, video games. Whatever. If you're reading about something you're passionate about, it stops feeling like study and starts feeling like, well, just enjoying your hobby.
That's the key to making it stick, isn't it? Finding the enjoyment. Now, here's something important you mentioned indirectly, this idea that you shouldn't stop and look up every single word you don't know. Why is that so crucial?
Because it kills the enjoyment and the flow. If you're stopping every few seconds to grab a dictionary or your phone, you lose the story. You lose momentum, and reading becomes a total chore. You'll probably give up. The better strategy is to practice guessing. Use the context, the words around it, the pictures if there are any, the general topic to make an educated guess about the meaning. Only stop and look up a word if you see it many times, or if it completely blocks you from understanding the main idea, maybe like 1 or 2 words per page. Maximum. Plus, learning to guess from context is a really valuable skill in itself for understanding real-world English.
Right, keep that momentum. Don't let the dictionary become a speed bump. And consistency, that's vital too, right? Little and often.
Oh, absolutely. Huge. Think of it like exercise or saving money. Small amounts done regularly add up massively over time. Even just 10 or 15 minutes of reading each day makes a huge difference. It builds the habit. That consistent exposure reinforces everything: vocabulary, grammar patterns, spelling. It's probably the single most powerful thing you can do for study improvement.
Okay, so that brings us towards wrapping up. Let's quickly recap the key takeaways for you, the listener, from this deep dive. The things to really focus on. First, start simple. Children's books, graded readers, find your level. Second, read what you love. Short stories, blogs on your hobbies. Make it fun, not homework. Third, and this is a big one, don't stop for every word. Guess from context. Only look up the real blockers. This builds fluency. Fourth, consistency is king. Aim for a little bit every single day. 10, 15 minutes counts. And finally, maybe try reading aloud sometimes, even just to yourself. It builds confidence and helps pronunciation.
And just to tie it all together, reading works because it weaves all these threads together naturally. You see apple used in different ways, so you learn context and remember it better. You see knife spelled right repeatedly, so it sticks. You absorb grammar without needing the rule book because you see the patterns. And by reading different kinds of texts, from simple stories maybe to news, you get ready for the variety of English out there. It all connects.
So here's a final thought for you to maybe mull over after this. Considering how our brains can just soak up complex language patterns, even improve how we might sound, just by quietly reading something enjoyable. What does that suggest? What does it tell you about the hidden power of other simple, consistent things you might already be doing? How might seemingly small, enjoyable habits be secretly boosting your learning in other areas too? Something to reflect on the quiet power of showing up consistently. We really hope this deep dive gets you excited to maybe pick up something, anything, in English today. Happy reading.